now it's 84.
Portions of our programming have been pre-recorded. The Good Neighbor Network, WGNS, Murfreesboro, Smyrna. Flagship station for MTSU Sports.
Hello, everyone. It's Ed with Private Investigations in Middle Tennessee. You know, if you just need someone checked out on a background check, tag them a run, or if you need someone full-fledged follow, give us a call. You can reach me at 615-390-7219. That's 615-390-7219. Or check out our website at piofmt.com. That's piofmt.com.
News Radio WGNS, Murfreesboro. The views and opinions on this show are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of WGNS, its management, other hosts, or advertisers.
Good evening, everyone. Ed Raymer with you. Another edition of the Edwin Lee Raymer Show. And I'm going to be going it alone tonight. I communicated to some of you on Facebook earlier. I appreciate all who have listened. I send the notifications out in Facebook, in Messenger. Thank you. Carol Ann, hello. I hope you're listening again. Thank you. Rita, if you are, thank you. Sharon, thank you. And so many others that listen. I know you never call in. And before I forget it, and I'm going to get into this here in just a few minutes, Jeff Neal. I want to thank Jeff. Jeff brought some information up here earlier, and we were talking out in the parking lot. And, you know, they always say, well, you can take numbers and prove anything. Well, we're going to take some numbers tonight. We're going to see what you got to say after that. Okay? And like I said, feel free to call with your questions, comments, ideas. Hello, Aileen. And hope all of you are listening. And Jackson's on the board. He'll do a good job as usual. And I started not to do this tonight, but I said, you know, I've got to. I want to do this. Going it alone every once in a while is good for me. It keeps me sharp. So at any rate, thank you all for listening, and we're going to get into this thing. It's going to be a good broadcast. And without further ado, for right now, my name is Edwin Lee Raymer, and yes, I'm still a private investigator. Welcome aboard.
This is the Edwin Lee Raymer Show with your host, Ed Raymer, on your Good Neighbor station, News Radio, WGNS Murfreesboro.
And that, again, is a little stiff upper lip for you from AC/DC. And this is the Edwin Lee Raymer Show, and I'm your host, Ed Raymer. This show is produced in studios at WGNS AM 1450 and 100.5, 101.9 FM right here in the heart of the great volunteer state, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. You can reach us tonight with your questions, comments, or thoughts. You can reach me tonight at 615-893-1450. That's 615-893-1450. And you can also send a text to that very number. And if you don't want to include your name, you don't have to. And our producer, Jackson, will be glad to read it over the air. He'll write it down, hand it to me, and I'll be glad to read it, okay? For those of you who do not wish to be heard live on the air. Now, you can also, of course, watch us. You can listen on Alexa. You can listen on Stitcher. All the other things. We're on YouTube Live, News Radio, WGNS. Or you can just pull up the Edwin Lee Raymer Show on WGNS, and I should be on there right now. And I think my wife listens mostly on Alexa, and, you know, but you can find us a number. And all of our shows are there, and other shows here at WGNS as well. Check out Angela Bingham. I didn't get a chance to hear her broadcast tonight, but she does a great job here at WGNS, and she's just a fine person. And I do support her in what she's doing. Hope everybody's had a good week and ready for another big week coming up. Goodness only knows what we'll get into as the days go by, I've told some of you out there, I used to start, I'd get in a little late on a Sunday night, and then I would, Monday I probably didn't do all that much, take a look at the headlines or whatever. And I would start preparing for a show on like a Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday. Generally by Tuesday or Wednesday, I'd have everything fairly well set to go as a general rule. Not always. And people do get sick. Your guests can't make it, or something happens, or whatever the case. But I don't do that anymore because information is coming in so fast and things are happening so fast, not just on a national basis, but on a state and even now here a local basis, okay? And I'm going to give you some examples of that here in just a few minutes. Now, I've got some snippets that Jackson has pulled up. They're off YouTube. All this is off YouTube. And an outfit called the Midas Touch, a courtesy of YouTube. And I want to pull up, there's a fella called Texas Paul. And I don't know, do you have that pulled up, Jackson? You've got him, okay? And we're not going to play all of it. But we'll play, this thing's about 9 minutes. We're going to get into that in just a little bit, okay? I wanted to say this in the last couple of weeks, and I'm going to say it now, okay, while I open my water. The situation with Trump, okay? And, of course, he was found guilty, of course, of the sexual, the sexual advances on this lady, Carol, Eugene Carroll, I think is her name. I'm not sure. I'll stand corrected on that. But I want to talk about the documents and all of this that had happened and everything else. The January 6th insurgents with all that bunch of people. And we have people locally that were at that insurgent, okay? Some from Tennessee already arrested and sitting behind bars. You must really believe in this guy. I don't, but you go right ahead. You go for it. Now, some of you know this, and I'm going to finally let the cat out of the bag, okay? I have a good friend who's not in this county, but he is a very, very well-known attorney. And son and I had some business with this man. I think it's coming up on about a year ago, several months. About a year ago. And we were talking, and that really was a waste of his time, to be honest with you, to deal with us. But we had to do it. It had to be something that had to be handled. And we were sitting around talking, and before we left, I said, listen. And this is before all this came out, I think maybe even before the document situation last year. And I said, look, what about all this stuff with Trump and court cases and all that, He said, I'm going to tell you something. Now, some of you know that I've told you this months ago. And I'm going to state it out, and it's open public now. I said, Ed, he will be arrested. He will be arraigned. He will be indicted. And he will go to jail. I said, well, now come on now, Mr. Attorney. Come on, this is, whether you like the man or not, he is a former president. Now, they said, Ed, he will go to jail. And if anything, he was addressing me. He said, Ed, you know how this process works. He said, you've served a lot of papers. Some have probably served for him, I guess. I don't know. And he said, this process takes a long time. And the people that are in charge of this process, you will not have to know. They've got to make sure that every T is crossed and every I is dotted. This is a former president of the United States. And he will go to jail. And more than likely, his 3 children will go with him. Well, this went on and on and on, and we waited and waited and waited and waited and waited. And finally, first indictment came down. on the E.G. and Carroll case, which brought about no court time. Okay, of course, it caught him a fine. Then he went out and opened his big mouth. I think they're going to go back and try to get more money out of him. I doubt they'll ever get any money out of him. Trump doesn't pay his debts. Now we're into the Florida case with the attorney that's handling that, Jack Smith, very noted attorney. He also, by the way, was one of the attorneys that was in the case here locally that put our former sheriff in a federal prison, Robert Arnold. Okay? He was involved in that. That's who this guy is. Now he is the lead attorney on this case against Trump. And we're halfway there. Trump, they have indictments on him. And this is, bear in mind, this is just one case. He's got 3 or 4 more to go. Where will it wind up? I'm beginning to start to believe what the man told me. I really do. Now, of course, Trump's the fly in the ointment, of course, and he puts all the flies in the ointment. He's got a buddy that's a judge, that little girl down there, and she's probably going to see in this particular case he does not go to jail, okay? Some of these people are just, some of you are madly in love with this man. I'm sorry, there's certain things in life that I don't get. I'm sorry I don't get it, okay? But that's the case. And that's what I've carried with me, and it's no big deal. But for several months, and very few people I had told about this. But you know that I've told you in the past. He will be indicted, and he will go to jail. Now, this is a very qualified attorney. And by the way, let me tell you, yes, I've represented myself in court before, but I'm talking about general sessions and stuff, detainer warrants, things like that. When you get into on a federal level in court, these people do not play around, okay? They don't play around. They play for keeps. And there's none of this 3 strikes and you're out and all that. That doesn't exist in the real world, okay? And I'm going to get into, hopefully later if I don't get sidetracked, of how these verdicts actually do. If you've ever been in a courtroom when someone gets charged with a guilty count and the judge puts the gavel down, that's it, okay? And if you've never been in one of those, all of you should. And if you have teenage children that are in their mid to late teens, they might ought to go see it too, because we have so much apathy today. Oh, well, system's rigged. Rich get richer, poor get poor. Poor go to jail, and the rich get out of it. They buy their way out. That is not necessarily true. Some people would like you to believe that, but it's not necessarily true. Now, here's what I'm going to do. We're going to get into this thing here when we get back. Jackson, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and take us to our first series of breaks. We're at 14 after. You're listening to me, Ed Raymer, on the Edwin Lee Raymer Show. Stay with us. Back with you right after this. Hello, everyone. It's Ed with Private Investigations in Middle Tennessee. If you just need someone checked out on a background check, tag them a run, or if you need someone full-fledged to follow, give us a call. You can reach me at 615-390-7219. That's 615-390-7219. Or check out our website at piofmt.com. That's piofmt.com.
I felt so alone, scared, angry, full of self-pity. I just wanted to die, so I took another drink. Then I heard about AA and went to my first meeting. The people there talked about those same feelings. I was no longer alone. They gave me help to stop drinking and hope to start living. Alcoholics Anonymous, it works. Look us up. Check your phone book, newspaper, or aa.org.
Hey, this is Ed, everybody. Want to tell you about a sponsor of ours. We've got Complete Yard Care. Their slogan is, we do it all. Low maintenance landscape design, retaining walls, tree removal, stump grinding, lawns cut, mulching, landscaping. Now you can reach them at 615-785-0384. or you can look them up on the web at CompleteYardCareTN.com. They have a 5-star ranking on Google. That's Complete Yard Care. We do it all.
Go to J. Mullins Jewelers and check out their collection of reactor watches. They're located at 352 West Northfield Boulevard right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And also custom-made jewelry. If you want it, they can make it for you. Also gifts for any and all occasions. Weddings, graduations, family reunions, anniversaries, all of it. That's J. Mullins Jewelers, 352 West Northfield Boulevard right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
All right, sorry about that. I'm back with you. Ed Raymer here with the Edwin Lee Raymer Show. Thank you, Jackson. Appreciate that. I want to play something for you. And to lead off with, of all people, Sarah Palin, she's back. And, you know, she's always going to be around, I think. Why John McCain never picked her, I'll never figure out. I just won't know. But I want you to listen to this. This is from courtesy of YouTube. It's about 8 or 9 minutes. And it's from the Midas Touch. A fellow by the name of Texas Paul. You can go on YouTube and look at this guy. And occasionally he uses a little foul language, but I listened to the entire thing last night and I didn't catch anything in this, okay? I want Jackson to play. It's like I said, it's about 8 minutes. Bear with me. Jax, if you would, please. Thank you.
The Trump motorcade yesterday, and I would say that the people at Versailles at the Cuban restaurant, I wouldn't call them cult members, would you?
No.
Well, folks, Sarah Palin's back. Yep, that's right, old Sister Sarah, the pray for me so the witches don't get me Palin is back. And she's lecturing us on all things, of all things, on is MAGA a cult? She appeared on Newsmax and gave this response when they asked her, is MAGA a cult? Take a look.
I was with the Trump motorcade yesterday, and I would say that the people at Versailles at the Cuban restaurant, I wouldn't call them cult members, would you?
No, you know, the definition of a cult is a group of people who are excessively supporting one another and a cause, all about conformity and compliance and intolerance of anyone who doesn't agree with what their mission is. Okay, that's the definition of what the left is engaged in right now. Speaking of cults, all about conformity and compliance, and heaven forbid you don't agree with them.
Yeah, you know, I've got a little bit better answer than that. Let's take a little trip down memory lane, folks. Let's just think about the way elections used to be. You know, we'd come to an election and everybody put a little sign out in their yard. Well, maybe you'd put a big sign out in your yard if you were really enthusiastic. And then we'd have that election, you know, you might put a bumper sticker on your car, then the election would be over, and then people would take those signs down. You know, they'd scrape that bumper sticker off their car and keep on keeping on. Well, not anymore. Not since the cult of MAGA. No, it's a year-round ordeal. All the time. You know, folks used to put American flags on the front of their house. Now they're hanging Trump flags. All the time. And then it got worse than that, folks. They started plastering their houses. I mean, their houses, you know, there's just one up in Youngstown, Pennsylvania, and it's not just that one. They're all over the country where people are now wrapping their houses with Trump-branded flags and whatnot. And this one house in Youngstown, Pennsylvania has a 15-foot effigy of Trump in spotlights. Yeah, I mean, that's a cult, folks. That's a cult. If you don't think that's a cult, here, take a look at Marjorie Trader Greene with this effigy of Trump and see what she does here.
There we go. There we go. And then I gotta do one more thing. I always do this. I just love this guy so much. He's calling. They kind of go behind the podium. Yeah, he is. He's fantastic. This guy right here is great. Standing up in there in the mucky swamp. Diane always has him in the mucky swamp. Yeah. But it's amazing.
Yeah, that's right, folks. Yeah, you've got a sitting member of Congress fondling a cardboard cutout of her cult leader. Yeah, I mean, that's a cult, folks. And if that's not enough for you, they built a golden statue of him and put it on display at CPAC. If you don't know what CPAC is, it's the Conservative Political Action Conference. It's the big Republican conservative get together every year. They put a golden Trump out there. People were praying to it, taking pictures with it. You know, I mean, just touching it. You know, I mean, it's a cult, folks. It's a cult. You know, your crazy uncle went out and bought $100 cartoons, digital cartoons of Trump. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. $100. They went out and bought Trump bucks. Have you ever heard of Biden bucks? No. No. We don't do that. We're not in a cult. There are people that went out and bought fake Trump money. I'm not kidding. And it gets worse than that. You need to keep an eye on your crazy uncle, your crazy pop. We've all got one in the family. We all do. You know, you got people that put second mortgages on their houses. Yeah. They ended up getting divorced and stuff like that. Yeah, that really happened, folks. It's a cult. And then the rallies. These aren't stump speeches. You know, we used to have, election time, politicians, we'd have to see them then. They'd come out and they would do speeches then. Oh no, this cult does them year round, every year, election or not. And what's crazy is, to show you how insane this cult is, these people travel around to the rallies. It's like the same people showing up at to hear the same stupid speeches. You know, that's a cult, folks. That is a cult. It's why they can't understand they lost. It's why they were susceptible to their cult leader telling them to go desecrate our Capitol and try to overturn the results of an election. They were offered zero proof that anything was wrong with. They just lost. They were just lost, but they were told by their cult leader that it was stolen from them, so they desecrated their own Capitol and tried to overthrow their own democracy. And he gave them no proof, none whatsoever. And they did it anyways. That's a cult. That's a cult. And it's getting worse and worse and worse, folks. It's not getting better. You know, it started out with somebody hanging a Trump flag on the front of their house. Now they're desecrating flags. Now they're hanging the American flag upside down and desecrating our American flag. And it's, folks, where does it end? You know, people make a joke. They make a joke about the People's Temple and Jim Jones and how much MAGA is like them. The People's Temple, if you don't know, that was Jim Jones's cult. And those people got together and they mixed up a bunch of poison Kool-Aid and they drank it and died for Jim Jones. And the joke is that the only difference between the MAGA cult and the Jim Jones cult is Trump would have branded the Kool-Aid and sold it to him for $8 a pop. I tell you, folks, it's getting bad. Caribou Barbie here, in her response, she just perfectly describes MAGA. Watch out for your people. Watch out for your people. It's getting worse. It's getting worse. One of the things you can do about it show your people these videos. Hit the subscribe button so that you can see them when they come out. It doesn't cost you anything. Doesn't tangle you up in any way. Just hit the subscribe button. It'll let you know when a new video comes out when you log on to this platform. You hit the thumbs up button. It'll get this video circulated around. And if you really want to help out, you're about to see a commercial from the Midas Touch Network. Folks, the Midas Touch Network.
All right, we are back. Thank you, Texas Paul. I want to call that man someday. I really like him. I like his delivery. And I must say, yes, I do like everything the Midas Touch is doing. They're sensible. They're reasonable, which means the people on the right will have no use for them whatsoever. Say hello. Carol Ann has commented on something. Carol Ann Elmore out of Chattanooga. What do you want? PT left. Hello. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. I think Angela's going to be listening in here in just a minute. Now, I've got something to say to you. Caribou Barbie. You've got to listen because Texas Paul comes up with some good stuff. Okay, he really does. And it's amazing. Now, let me say this. When Paul is talking about, Texas Paul is talking about these rallies, okay? First of all, if I'm right, and I'll stand corrected if you have information, if you've been to one of these rallies, as I understand, there's a fee, there's a charge to get through the door. Where do you think that money's going? And look at all the merchandising that's being done. Trump is not running for president, ladies and gentlemen. All he's doing is he's running to raise money. That's all he's doing. Merchandise. And I can tell you how I've had several friends, several of them maybe listening tonight, that have run for office, okay? First of all, they have families, most of them do. Or if they're not married or don't have a maid and don't have children, they still have their parents, brothers, sisters, siblings, whatever. And, they spend time with them. They don't go out here for some 300-mile trek to go see a man that's selling souvenirs. Caps and shirts and flags of himself. And Texas Paul mentioned the Trump flags. We had one in our community. I meant to drive by it tonight before I came in. I forgot about it. And it's been hanging on this front porch. And it is the Trump flag. It is tattered and torn and worn. It's the one 2020 and all that crap. It's faded out. And, I made the analogy of that flag one day. It's fading out. Yeah. It's fading away, all right. Reminds me of the Stone song, Don't Fade Away. Yeah. Okay. It's fading away. Now, I had not heard when Texas Paul just mentioned the upside down. I don't know what they're doing hanging our flag upside down. If any of you know anything about that, you're welcome to call in. Yeah, and yes, for some people it's getting worse. The point I'm going to make, and I made this point before, the people that I have been to campaigns, I've listened to them speak, I've campaigned, not with them, but I've been there, okay, sort of on the inside. And being on radio, I never want to go too far with any candidate. I don't, I just can't do that. And my friends understand why. But let me tell you something. We're getting ready to hit July, and we're already hitting it now here in June. And that's when campaign season really gets into high gear. July, August, September. 100-degree temperatures, okay? And I see Trump's people when they get there, and it's maybe in January in somewhere, some southern state, or, and they're all smiling and giggling and laughing. And let me tell you something. The campaigns I've seen my people work, everybody may be cracking a few smiles, but nobody's just overjoyed to be there. And it's not that we don't enjoy being there and we don't enjoy being around each other. It's work, okay? I've seen, look at them. Take a look at them, the big old smiles on their faces. And, oh, he's here. Oh, look, it's him. So what? All he's going to do is tell you how the election was stolen, how we're going to put Hillary in jail. We're going to lock her up. I don't know. We're going to impeach her. I don't know what they're going to impeach her for. She's not even in office. And by the way, and I wish Trump would call him. Wouldn't it be funny if he'd call? Because I'd like to tell him, you know, you've never won an election. Hillary beat you by more than 3 million votes because this electoral college or whatever, which needs to be abolished and done away with. They stole two presidential elections from us. But, you know, Donnie, I hate to tell you, buddy, in your very first election, you got beat by a girl. Okay? You got beat by a girl. Don't tell me how successful you are, okay? You got beat by a girl. Only by the force of the Electoral College did you go in. And that never should have been that way. Should not have been that way. Same way they put President Bush in. Thank goodness President Bush is a better man than this last one we had before President Biden, 45 here. He's quite a trip. Okay, I've said my piece. I'm going to get into something locally here in a minute. Angela, I hope, is listening. Angela Wynn, I gave her a call. I wanted her to tune in because I wanted her to hear this. Jax, can we go to just run a couple of advertisements? Let me catch my breath here. Ed Raymer with the Edwin Lee Raymer Show. Now, stay with us. We're going to be back with some local news for you here in just a minute. Stay with us. Hello, everyone. It's Ed with Private Investigations in Middle Tennessee. You know, if you just need someone checked out on a background check, tag them a run, or if you need someone full-fledged to follow, give us a call. You can reach me at 615-390-7219. That's 615-390-7219. Or check out our website at piofmt.com. That's piofmt.com.
I felt so alone, scared, angry, full of self-pity. I just wanted to die, so I took another drink. Then I heard about AA and went to my first meeting. The people there talked about those same feelings. I was no longer alone. They gave me help to stop drinking and hope to start living. Alcoholics Anonymous, it works. Look us up. Check your phone book, newspaper, or AA.org.
Thank you, Jackson. Appreciate it. Thanks to all of our sponsors. We appreciate you very much, okay? Now, I said this earlier when Jackson first put me on the air. Thank you, Jeff Neal. Jeff is a supporter of this broadcast, and I appreciate this. He went to the trouble to bring me a copy of this story that was in this past week's Murfreesboro Post, Tuesday, May 2nd edition. Well, no, this is longer. Yeah, okay, about a month ago. Sorry, more than a month ago. And I wanted you to hear this. Okay, this is a story done by Daniel Ray of the Murfreesboro Post, and it's on the charter school situation. And Jeff, thanks again for bringing this up. And I want you to listen to what we've got here. Okay, this is important because I think it's evident. You don't have to watch your television very long to see that politicians are not listening to the constituents anymore. There are people in their own party that they're not listening to anymore. They're doing whatever they want. Okay? Now, take a listen to this from Daniel Ray, the Murfreesboro Post, of course. The Rutherford County Board of Education voted 5-2 to accept American Classical Academy Rutherford's charter school application at a special called meeting on Tuesday, April 25th. That's on YouTube, by the way. You can see this meeting. It's not very long either. Pretty quick, pretty snappy. The Hillsdale College affiliated school is set to open in the fall of 2024 according to Joel Shellhammer, Executive Director of the American Classical Education, ACAR's parent organization. The school would start by serving 340 students in grades kindergarten through 5th and phase in grades until enrolling 690 students through 12th grade by 2029-2030. By the way, we've got almost, if not more now, than 50,000 students in Rutherford County. Really going to be a big shot in the arm, I'm sure. The board rejected ACAR's initial application in July of 2022. Board member, thank God for him, Coy Young, was one of the two who voted against ACAR. He said that his concerns are a lack of an alternative school for disciplinary action, lack of special needs program, and insufficient funding for transportation for students. Quote, the equity does not stay nor come back to Rutherford County taxpayers, so I strongly disagree with the Rutherford County taxpayer dollars going toward any charter school. Mr. Coy Young said this. Upon learning there would be no presentation at the meeting from the applicant or charter school committee, board member Sheila Bratton said, I vehemently protest this. We have always had a presentation from the committee giving us the pros and cons of the recommendation, and I find this to be very nefarious. She was the other no vote, her and Coy Young. Quote, ACAR seems quite ready for the Rutherford County schools to fill in the gaps, said Bratton. Okay? Quote, as Mr. Young, give him a place here, said, where's the plan for addressing zero tolerance, special needs, transportation, English language learners, mental health, and behavioral issues? I agree. Bratton said her inbox has been filled with emails from people opposing ACAR. Vice Chair Caleb Tidwell said he has also had many emails about the issue, but they have balanced between those in favor and those. Here we go with this fair and balanced stuff. I need to have a talk with Caleb, I guess. We had that fair and balanced for years. They finally did away with that little moniker. There's such a focus on the negative potential of the schools possibly failing, but no one talks about what is more likely the positive impact that will have on the community, and which Tidwell said, which you're paying for, taxpayers, so enjoy it. Tidwell said there's a complaint that the county's growth doesn't pay for itself and that ACAR would ease the growth a bit. I don't know what they're going to need all our money for, okay? But here we go. Tidwell said about 1,000 Rutherford County school parents surveyed, 721 were opposed to the school. This is Tidwell talking, and 281 were in favor. Board member Claire Maxwell said she believes the school board is way behind in building schools and agrees with Tidwell that ACAR could ease some of the growing pains. I'm frustrated at the money and the length of time it takes to construct a new school, Maxwell said. It is in that vein that I'm willing to vote tonight for a school that will appeal to some of our families and help us with our nonstop growth, which she had stated here on this broadcast when she was running for the county school board. You would never hear her vote for such a thing. Go back and pull it up on the podcast. It's there. Board member Katie Darby said she had looked over previously approved charter school applications and found ACAR to be at least on par. It's a choice school. If it's not for you, you don't have to go there. That's one of the beauties of it. You know, out of 1,000 people, 721 were opposed. Now, you know, and 281 were in favor. And that's what you can take numbers to prove anything. Okay, does this prove that maybe the majority of your constituents don't want this? And you went ahead and approved it anyway? What say you? Listeners tonight, what say you? Are your politicians listening to you? School board members are politicians, believe it or not. And the very people that voted to waste your money on this school to relieve 320 to 340 students out of 50,000? I don't get it, folks. I'm sorry. I just don't get it. Is that for me? Caller, go ahead. You're on the air. Go.
Hi, Mr. are you doing?
Fine, Angela. How are you doing?
I'm good. I am so glad that you are bringing this topic back up because although this happened back in April, it's still a very, very important topic for us to continue to discuss, especially when it comes to ensuring that our children are able to get the education that they should have and not the education that some people believe that they should have.
Yeah, some people believe they should have, right? Like me, you know. By the way, the Murfreesboro City Council passed a decency ordinance. Are you being decent right now? Because I'm putting myself in charge to make sure all of Murfreesboro is decent now.
Which is crazy to me because I believe decency is probably a sense of, the personal opinion, right? It's not necessarily something that everyone can.
Well, not according to them, because it's going to be left up to the county, to the chief of police or the city manager to determine what books are decent or which ones aren't. So.
Well, I find that crazy because one of the things that is supposed to be great about America is our freedom to choose, right? But it seems like there are a lot of people who are very, very, very motivated to ensure that our choices are very limited.
Well, would you agree that the majority of people are not getting their wishes? I mean, and I know that just because it's a majority, you're not supposed to cater to everyone. I understand that. But this is something that concerns taxpayer dollars. We're looking at the entire county. You're in Smyrna, I believe.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes, I am.
This county tax increase, the property tax, is going to affect every single one of us. And in turn, this is the money that's going to help pay for private schools. Because if you get one, now the other schools are going to line up and say, hey, what about me? What about Middle Tennessee Christian? What about Providence Christian? They're going to want their fair share. I don't know why these people can't see this.
Well, because it's more about power and keeping their position than it is about the good of the community, right? It's like you said, they polled 1,000 people and more than 700 said that they did not want this new charter school to be, approved to come into the county. But unfortunately, our school board decided that they did not want to listen to their constituents and vote in their best interest due to the people who were funding their campaigns for school boards in the first place.
I know. So where do we stand? Where does this issue stand now? Have you kept up with it? Now, I noticed, I don't know if it was the county or the city, purchased a building, I think it was $1.4 million, here in Murfreesboro. Is that the building they purchased for this?
I don't believe so. It would quite shock me if they were able to purchase something that soon. I know that the school board has got on the contract for another property that they're looking to build a new school on. I mean, I'm going to be quite frank with you, Ed. I would be shocked if they're able to actually open the school in the time frame that they have put into place.
Right. Yeah.
Especially considering all of the other elements that they are severely lacking in.
Right.
I feel like that is the least of their problems is finding some place to build a school. They really need to at least come up to the Tennessee state of standards when it comes to the curriculum that they're trying to use within their school.
So you think the time element is against them?
I think the time element is going to be against them because you have to think about how long it took for the current school board to find viable land to actually be able to build this school. If our own public officials are having a hard time finding the land that they need, I can't believe that a school where the majority of constituents are against it are going to find a piece of property that is going to allow them to build it. I mean, quite frankly, I don't even know if they are capable of being able to actually put the school in construction because they can't even get the curriculum up to par. So if they can't even get the curriculum up to state standards, I would be afraid in how they're actually going to go ahead and construct the school just based on that ideology right there.
Well, and here's the thing. This was tried, this little maneuver they attempted in Jackson, Murray, Montgomery, Robertson, and here in Rutherford County. 4 of the other counties turned it down. Rutherford turned it down originally, correct?
Yes, it's very correct. Our former school board resoundingly rejected their application because it was not to the standards of the state.
Right. Okay. Angela, anything else? I appreciate you calling. Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. I just want people to really know what's happening in their local community. This is not an isolated thing that is happening. I truly believe that with Rutherford County voting yes on this, that they are going to take it up with the Charter School Commission of the state to try to get them to roll over and allow these schools to be built in other counties as well. And doing so is very, very dangerous. This is not about school choice. This is about introducing a curriculum that is about Americanism, and that is certainly not what we need in our community. We need our children to be taught history in the correct way.
Right.
And not because they need to hear a feel-good story so nobody feels bad about the atrocities that have happened in this country, period.
Well, like I said, everybody's going to be stepping up. They're all going to belly up to the bar now, saying, "Where's my share?" You know, they're going to want their share. And, you know, they would. Unfortunately, they're right in so doing, because if you give money to one, you got to give it to everybody else.
Yes, that is exactly true. And that's the problem that we're facing right now. And it's sad considering how much we really need to be pumping into our public school system.
Exactly right.
Public schools work.
That's the reason everyone moved here, Angela. We've had this conversation for years. That's why myself and my family moved to Rutherford County. You know, my husband was born and raised in Davidson County, and I was very adamant in ensuring that my children would get a Rutherford County education because I know it's one of the best in the state. And I don't want that type of education diluted because we have people who want to come in and rewrite history in their favor. Well, and we've got some fine teachers here, too. Fine educators.
We have some magnificent teachers.
We sure do.
To say that, to bring in an organization that is headed by someone who doesn't believe in how wonderful our teachers are is a sad shame.
Yes, it is. That it is. Angela, thank you so much. Give my regards to your husband, all your family. Thank you so much for your support of this broadcast. It is really appreciated. Okay?
Absolutely, Ed. Thank you so much for continuing to bring this subject to life.
Thank you so much. Take care. We'll talk to you later. All right. Angela Wynn. She was one of the groups that were opposed to this, and, of course, they didn't listen to her either. So, anyway, Jackson, I want you to run all of our breaks, please. Take us to our last series of breaks. Bill is here with his guests. They're out there, and they're going to be getting in here after a while. So we're going to go to our last series of breaks, come back, and I'll be signing off. Ed Raymer with the Edwin Lee Raymer Show. Stay with us. Hello, everyone. It's Ed with Private Investigations in Middle Tennessee. You know, if you just need someone checked out on a background check, tag them a run, or if you need someone full-fledged to follow, give us a call. You can reach me at 615-390-7219. That's 615-390-7219. Or check out our website at piofmt.com. That's piofmt.com.
I felt so alone, scared, angry, full of self-pity. I just wanted to die, so I took another drink. Then I heard about AA and went to my first meeting. The people there talked about those same feelings. I was no longer alone. They gave me help to stop drinking and hope to start living. Alcoholics Anonymous, it works. Look us up. Check your phone book, newspaper, or AA.org.
Hey, this is Ed, everybody. Want to tell you about a sponsor of ours. We've got Complete Yard Care. Their slogan is, "We do it all." Low-maintenance landscape design, retaining walls, tree removal, stump grinding, lawns cut, mulching, landscaping. Now, you can reach them at 615-785-0384. Or you can look them up on the web at CompleteYardCareTN.com. They have a 5-star ranking on Google. That's Complete Yard Care. We do it all.
Go to J. Mullins Jewelers and check out their collection of reactor watches. They're located at 352 West Northfield Boulevard right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And also custom-made jewelry. If you want it, they can make it for you. Also gifts for any and all occasions. Weddings, graduations, family reunions, anniversaries, all of it. That's J. Mullins Jewelers, 352 West Northfield Boulevard right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
All right, and we are back for our last 9 minutes here. Bill Wilson is here, and his guests are here. What do y'all call the coconut cow?
I'm Miss Megan Owens, but we're the Coconut Cowgirls with Priscilla Sanders.
You do what now? Go ahead. He had your mic off. Please go ahead.
Oh, I'm Miss Megan Owens, and she's Priscilla Sanders.
Right.
And together we're the Coconut Cowgirls.
Coconut Cowgirls.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Must be friends with Jimmy Buffett. They're going to be performing some tunes for you, I think. So we're glad to have them here and get Bill on here in just a few minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to explain something to you. I promised you I'd tell you earlier. I want you to hear this. I was in a situation. As most of you know, I've served many a court paper and all that good stuff, subpoenas, detainer warrants, summonses, all that, federal subpoenas, all that. Now, there was, it's been some years back now, and you talk about, if Trump will ever be held accountable and all this. And as I said, when you get to a federal court level, things are a total different. It's a whole different ballgame, okay? Now, I want to say something to you. And I know a lot of people have come to the conclusion, well, it's all rigged, and nobody, you can't win, and only the rich win, and the poor get poorer, and the rich get richer. All right, we've all heard that. I've said it myself, okay? I was in a courtroom, and the attorneys there I had worked for several years, friends of mine, to be honest with you. This was a murder case, and it was an old case that had come back up. They had found new evidence. The defendants had been declared innocent years earlier, but new evidence had arrived and had been discovered that implicated them in this murder. And if I remember right, I think it was the lady's husband, but I'm not sure. I'll stand corrected. That's not important. Here's what I'm getting at, okay? We went in, and the judge made an announcement, said, now, upon the reading of this verdict, and I must say the defense lawyers that I had worked for years, still do on occasion, they didn't have a good feeling about it either, okay? And let me tell you, when we went in, the judge said, now, we are going to have the jury come forward. They're going to come in. And he warned the courtroom, please, this is not a show of emotion or anything. There will be no outburst. The verdict is what the verdict is, good or bad. This man and woman, the jury was called in. This man and woman, judge said, will you please rise? And they did with their attorneys. Guilty as charged. Now, I want to tell you something. If you hear something in the background, that's I'm warming up. I'm going to do a single after this. I got one of singing. But I want to tell you, the deputies came in. It's all right. The deputies came in. They handcuffed these two individuals. And the tears are starting to stream down their cheeks, okay? If you've never seen this before, I urge you to go see it. And like I said, if you have teenage children, you might want to take them to a case where a verdict like this is read. Because, ladies and gentlemen, when the gavel comes down, the gavel is swift. And it is definite, and it is solid, and it is over. And I'm telling you, when those deputies came in there, they're not picking them up to take them to mama's for one last meal before they go home. Ladies and gentlemen, they went that afternoon to prison, and they are, to my knowledge, still there. Yes, the system does work, although lots of times we get cynical about it. I've been the world's worst. Don't get me wrong. I've won in court. I've lost in court. I learned to accept that a long time ago. You win some, lose a few, you know? But when in a case like this happens, and Trump is no exception, he's got 3 or 4 other cases coming up just besides this one. I wouldn't want to be this man. I don't know how he sleeps at night. I'm telling you. And I'm telling you right now, yes, justice does exist in this country. Now, I know many of us, they think it doesn't. You know, it's all rigged and all that. No, it is not. I've seen it. And when those deputies come in and throw the cuffs on you and the shackles on your legs, they're not coming. You're not going anywhere else except to a jail cell, and then you will be transferred to the appropriate facility, prison, wherever it may be. It does happen. And yes, it does take place. Okay? Jax, we're going to get out here a little early and let Bill get in here and let these ladies get started. It's been a pleasure to be with you again. I thank you very much. I was doing my play-out music. That's from Carole King. That's Shine Down. Feel the earth move under my feet. And I'll tell you what, till next Sunday at 8 o'clock, I'll catch you down the road. Have a great week. Good night.